Today we're going to talk about why you should be eating 3 to 4 eggs every single day. Now, let me start by saying this. Eggs are a fascinating topic. And while I'm not an extremist when it comes to eggs, I personally include them in my daily diet. But before we go deeper, if you still have even the slightest hesitation about eating eggs because of cholesterol, or it's time to let that go. There's absolutely no scientific evidence showing that eggs cause cholesterol problems. That's been pure propaganda for years. I'll link some updated research in the description for you to review if you still have doubts. Now let's get into the real question. What makes an egg so special? What makes it different from other protein sources like meat or fish? Well, when you eat animal protein, you're mostly consuming muscle tissue, the part responsible for contraction, relaxation, and movement. But the egg is entirely different. It's a complete structure designed to develop into a new life, a chick. This difference makes the protein in eggs unique. Eggs have the highest biological value of any protein source. What does that mean? It means your body absorbs and utilizes egg protein more efficiently than any other. When it comes to tissue repair and muscle building, egg protein ranks right at the top. So why do we actually need protein? It's essential for building and maintaining muscles, tendons, ligaments, and joints. But it's not just about structure. Protein also supports repair processes that happen constantly inside your body. It's used to build hormones, produce enzymes that drive countless chemical reactions, and yes, it can even serve as a source of fuel. Now let's compare that with other protein sources. When you consume meat or fish, basically the muscle part, only about Sir bystander arches of that protein can actually be converted into energy. Sure, if your meat has fat, that fat can be used as fuel, but the protein itself is limited. Eggs, on the other hand, contain both protein and fat, mainly from the yolk, and that combination makes them much more efficient for energy production. In fact, roughly bystander Wu of the nutrients in a whole egg can be used as fuel by your body. That's a huge advantage. This also explains why people who eat only lean meats, like rabbit meat, often run into trouble. There have been cases where individuals tried surviving on rabbit meat alone, which is very low in fat, and ended up severely ill, even dying because their bodies couldn't get enough usable energy. Pure protein simply can't sustain life. So when it comes to nutritional balance and fuel efficiency, the egg truly stands out as one of the most complete and beneficial protein sources available. You could quite literally live on eggs for the rest of your life and still maintain excellent health. But that's not the whole story. Eggs have several unique advantages that go far beyond what meat provides. One of the most remarkable things about eggs is their built-in protection system. What do I mean by protection? Inside every egg, particularly in the white, there are powerful antimicrobial proteins, compounds that naturally defend against bacteria and other pathogens. These protective agents act like a shield, keeping the egg safe from harmful microbes while it's developing. The egg white also contains substances that can bind or lock up certain nutrients like iron and vitamin B, also known as biotin. You may have heard that eating raw egg whites can lead to a biotin deficiency. This was actually observed years ago when some bodybuilders consumed large amounts of dyed raw eggs in protein shakes and later developed symptoms of biotin deficiency. However, once egg whites are cooked, that binding compound is destroyed, making the eggs completely safe. So as long as you cook your eggs, you don't have to worry about losing biotin. The presence of that compound in raw eggs actually serves a defensive purpose. It deprives bacteria of biotin, which they need to grow and multiply. Yet another example of the egg's natural self-protection. Beyond that, eggs provide all the essential amino acids your body needs, including leucine, a key amino acid involved in muscle building and repair. They're also the second richest source of choline, an important B vitamin-like nutrient. Choline plays a major role in preventing fatty liver, supporting bile production to digest fats, and even assisting in DNA repair for those who have certain genetic vulnerabilities. This brings us to an important process in the body called methylation, a biochemical reaction that helps repair DNA, supports detoxification, and aids in the production of neurotransmitters. Many people have genetic variations that make methylation less efficient. For those individuals, getting enough choline, natural B-sharr, and folate is crucial, and all three are naturally abundant in eggs. In my own case, I've discovered through genetic testing that my body doesn't absorb choline as effectively as it should, which is one reason eggs are particularly beneficial for me. Another major benefit of eggs lies in their antioxidant power. They're packed with lutein and zeaxanthin, two carotenoids that concentrate in the retina of your eyes. These compounds act like in protecting your vision from harmful ultraviolet UV and blue light that can damage delicate eye tissues. If we take a closer look at the eye, specifically at the back portion, known as the retina, we find it's actually an extension of your brain filled with specialized cells that receive visual information and transmit it back to the brain. These antioxidants, lutein and zeaxanthin, play a crucial role in keeping that system strong and resilient over time. To protect those delicate cells in the retina and maintain your ability to see clearly in dim light, your body needs a high concentration of lutein and zeaxanthin. These two nutrients are absolutely essential for vision health, and eggs provide them in abundance. But their benefits don't stop with your eyes. These antioxidants also support the brain, enhancing focus, memory, and learning ability. Let's look at what else makes eggs such a powerhouse. Eggs contain unique compounds called phospholipids, which play a vital role in building and maintaining healthy cell membranes, especially in your brain and nervous system. These phospholipids are crucial for sharp cognitive function, mental clarity, and even mood regulation. Interestingly, eggs also contain natural compounds that mimic ACE inhibitors, which can help lower blood pressure by relaxing blood vessels, a fascinating natural benefit most people never hear about. Eggs are also rich in vitamin K, are an often overlooked nutrient that ensures calcium is properly transported throughout your body, keeping it out of soft tissues like arteries, joints, and kidneys, and sending it where it belongs, into your bones and teeth. In addition, eggs contain the active form of vitamin A known as retinol. This isn't just beneficial for your vision, it also supports the health of your skin, the internal linings of your sinuses, lungs, and digestive tract, and plays a key role in maintaining a strong immune system. And of course, eggs naturally provide vitamin D, one of the most essential nutrients for hormone balance, immune defense, and calcium absorption. Before you rush out to load your fridge with eggs, let's talk briefly about egg quality, because not all eggs are created equal. Around of all eggs consumed today come from caged chickens, which live their entire lives confined to spaces as small as bal inches. These stressful, restrictive conditions elevate cortisol levels in the animals, which can negatively affect the nutrient profile of the eggs. For this reason, it's best to avoid caged eggs entirely. Cage-free eggs are a small step up. These hens usually get about 2 square feet of space with limited outdoor access. While this is somewhat better, it still doesn't come close to natural living conditions. The best choice is pasture-raised eggs. These chickens are free to roam outdoors with roughly feet of space per bird, allowing them to eat natural foods like insects and grass. Their eggs tend to have richer color, higher nutrient density, and a better fatty acid profile. If possible, buy from a local farmer's market, or even better, raise your own chickens. If you have the space, that's the ultimate source of fresh, high-quality eggs. Now, one more thing to know, many conventional eggs are artificially colored to give the yolks that deep yellow-orange appearance, which doesn't reflect their true nutrient content. In contrast, the natural color of pasture-raised yolks indicates real carotenoids, not dyes. Now, what about organic eggs? The label organic simply means the hens are fed grains free of pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides, which is certainly an improvement. However, it doesn't necessarily mean the chickens are cage-free. Ideally, choose organic pasture-raised eggs. This combination ensures the hens are eating clean, non-GMO feed that hasn't been treated with chemicals like glyphosate, though it's worth noting that some loopholes still exist, especially when wheat is used as feed, since it can be sprayed with glyphosate even if labeled non-GMO. And don't be swayed when you see labels claiming vegetarian-fed chickens. It might sound healthy at first, but it's actually misleading. Think about it. Chickens are not vegetarians by nature. They're omnivores. They thrive on a mixed diet that includes insects, worms, and even small bits of meat, not just grains. For example, on my own farm, my chickens absolutely love cheese. They'll eat a variety of natural foods with enthusiasm. If given a choice between grains and a good protein source, they'll always go for the protein. That's their natural instinct. So when chickens are fed strictly grain-based diets, especially those made from GMO corn and soy, their eggs become disproportionately high in omega fatty acids. And that's a problem because too much omega creates inflammation in the body, tipping your fatty acid balance in the wrong direction. In contrast, eggs from chickens that consume more omega-6 rich foods are far more beneficial for your heart, eyes, and brain. In fact, there are now specialty eggs available that are specifically designed to be higher in omega-6. I'm actually experimenting with this right now, feeding my chickens a unique grain that's naturally higher in omega strand, lower in omega luke. I'll share the results of that experiment soon, but so far it's looking very promising. Now let's talk about what you can pair with eggs to make them even more powerful. The right food combinations can dramatically increase nutrient absorption. For example, try combining your eggs with an arugula salad. The healthy fats in the egg yolk help your body absorb. The phytonutrients in arugula up to 9 times more effectively. That's because many of these plant compounds are fat-soluble, and the yolk acts as a perfect nutrient carrier. Another great pairing is onions. I personally love sautéed onions with my eggs. They help enhance detoxification pathways and add a powerful layer of antioxidants to your meal. Adding a pinch of black pepper and a bit of sea salt is also a smart move. Black pepper boosts the absorption of carotenoids, the same eye protective pigments we talked about earlier. Here's one more tip. Don't overcook your eggs. It might seem minor, but overcooking can reduce the nutrient content, especially delicate vitamins and antioxidants. When I cook mine, I prefer them over easy with a soft, runny yolk. If you're making scrambled eggs, just cook them until set, not browned or dry. And finally, if it's tomato season, don't forget to add fresh tomatoes. They're rich in lycopene, another powerful antioxidant that works beautifully with the healthy fats in eggs to protect your eyes, skin, and heart. I make this combination every summer, and it's both delicious and incredibly nutritious. Oh, I completely understand. I do that myself almost every day. Tomatoes are an incredible food packed with nutrients, but one compound truly stands out: lycopene. Lycopene is one of the most powerful antioxidants and carotenoids you can consume. It supports the health of your arteries, promotes a strong prostate, and provides essential protection for your eyes and brain. Now let's address something important. If buying pasture-raised or organic eggs feels too expensive right now, don't worry. Even conventional eggs, they still provide far more value than most processed protein sources, which often come loaded with starches, sugars, and fillers. So even if all you can afford at this stage are night and regular eggs, you're still doing your body a big favor. Another food I love to combine with eggs is the avocado. Its fats are rich, creamy, and incredibly heart healthy. Because you're eating the whole fruit, you're getting pure, unprocessed oils that support your brain, skin, and hormone balance. Now, a quick note about avocado oil. Many brands on the market are unfortunately refined or oxidized due to heat processing. Unless it's cold pressed and verified for quality, it may not deliver the same health benefits. Regulations around avocado oil are still quite loose, so always choose trusted sources when you can. When cooking your eggs, I personally recommend using extra virgin olive oil or grass-fed butter. Just be mindful not to overheat the oil. Oak olive oil, when used properly, is rich in protective phytonutrients and antioxidants, which help your body combat inflammation while enhancing nutrient absorption from your meal. Hopefully, by now I've encouraged you to include at least one meal a day. That features eggs because the nutritional payoff is simply too powerful to ignore. But that brings us to another important question. What kind of protein should you include in your other meals? For that, I highly recommend watching next video. It'll help you understand how to build the perfect protein balance for better energy, metabolism, and long-term health.